Just a quick reminder to those that are on the call, if you could keep your mics muted and your cameras off unless you're being asked the question by the board or you are presenting. And Chair Howerton, we're ready to get started.
Thank you, Monica, and good evening, everyone. Good evening, commissioners, staff, and community. I will call this meeting to order, November 22nd, 2021. I will start with reading the public card. The Board of Commissioners asks its members and citizens to conduct themselves in a respectful, courteous manner, both with the board and fellow citizens. At any time, should any member of the board or any citizen fail to observe this public charge, the chair will ask the offending person to leave the meeting until that individual regains personal control. Should decorum fail to be restored, the chair will recess the meeting until such time that a genuine commitment to the public charge is observed. We will start with Commissioner Long. Would you like to do our pledge this evening? Pledge of allegiance.
Thank you, Chair Howerton. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Any agenda adjustments, commissioners? Seeing no hands, we will move on to announcements. Our clerk, Monica Wallace, will now read our announcements.
Good evening, everyone. I'll read the announcements for this evening's meeting. And just a reminder that they will also be posted on the county website. The first announcement is the Thanksgiving holiday. Durham County government will close most offices in observance of the Thanksgiving holiday on both Thursday, November 25th, and Friday, November 26th. All offices will reopen with normal hours of operation on Monday, November 29th. NAIA football in Durham County. The 2021 and 2022 NAIA football championship and senior classes will be held at Durham County Memorial Stadium on December 17th and 18th. Game tickets are available by visiting www.durhamncsport.com. North Carolina Collection is open. The North Carolina Collection, located on the third floor at the Durham County Main Library, is now open. Their hours are Mondays, 9:30 a.m. till 7:30 p.m., Tuesday through Saturday, 9:30 a.m. till 5 p.m., and they are closed on Sundays. For more information and to browse the collection online, you can visit www.durhamcountylibrary.org. DECO Public Health COVID-19 Vaccination Clinic hours. The COVID-19 vaccine is available at the Durham County Department of Public Health, located on 414 East Main Street, during the following hours: Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday from 9 a.m. till 4 p.m., Tuesday, 9 a.m. till 6 p.m., and closed on Fridays. Appointments and walk-ins are welcome, and the first, second, and third booster shots are available as well. Please note that the clinics are closed daily between the hours of 11:30 a.m. and 1 p.m. For more information, you can visit www.decopublichealth.org/COVID vaccines or call 919-560-9217. Welcome Baby Annual Coat Drive. Donate gently used and new coats, sizes newborn through 7 and 8, at Cooperative Extension or the following library locations: the Main Library, Bragstown, North, East, and South regional locations. Donations are accepted now through January 7th during their normal business hours. For more information, you can visit www.welcomebaby.org. Blasting on site of the new Northern High School. Residents and those who work near the site of the new Northern High School should be aware that East Coast Drilling and Blasting will be conducting construction blasting on site at 4616 North Roxborough Road, Monday through Friday, between the hours of 3:30 p.m. and 4 p.m. until further notice. Weather may impact the times, and all updates will be available on the Durham County Twitter and Facebook page. It's your county, get involved. Durham County government has over 40 active advisory boards, referred to as boards and commissions, that citizens of Durham County may volunteer to participate by applying for a vacancy. A description of the boards as well as a list of vacancies can be found online at www.bconc.gov and just search under boards and commissions. If you need additional information, you can also contact the clerk's office at 919-560-0025 or email boardsandcommissions@dconc.gov. And lastly, work for Durham County government. Looking for a satisfying career in public service? Join Durham County government local team and make a difference in your community today. Please visit www.careers.dconc.gov. And that concludes our announcement.
Thank you, Ms. Wallace. We appreciate you reading our announcements this evening. And the Racial Equity Commission applications are still online. Just note that we are still looking, the applications are there, and we're still looking for individuals, community members to apply for the Racial Equity Commission. Wanted to lift that up. Any other announcements from Commissioner Burns? Okay.
There we go. I'm going to unmute. So really quick, I don't know who is on here from the sheriff's office, but at work today, I heard something through the grapevine that one of, we're always talking about, how we have this great MAT program with opioids. And if I'm not mistaken, Elijah Basemore in the sheriff's office is actually getting the Dogwood Award tomorrow for his work on the MAT program and on opioids. So Josh Stein will be giving it to him tomorrow. I see Sheriff Burkhead, and I do see his chief of staff, but I just wanted to lift that up because we got an update earlier, and I said we hadn't even gotten an email. But so congratulations to him on all his work that he's worked on to help individuals get off of opioids once they enter into our system. So that was all my announcement.
Sheriff Burkhead, would you like to make a comment?
He's on here.
You there?
Yes, good evening, commissioners. Thank you, Commissioner Burns, for mentioning the award that Major Bazemore is going to receive tomorrow. I will be accompanying him over there just like a proud papa because we're really proud of the work that he has done. He truly has poured his heart and soul into our MAT program. We have traveled the state together talking about the great work that we've done with MAT. So we congratulated him last week, and we will congratulate him and celebrate tomorrow with the Attorney General. So very proud of him. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Burkhead. We all kind of saw it this evening, all of us about the same time, and congratulate him for all of the work, because it doesn't happen without work. So thank you. Okay, I saw, I think I saw Commissioner Alam and Mr. Jacobs' hand.
Thank you, Chair Howerton. I just have one. The Durham Rescue Mission is collecting 300 turkeys and 150 hams to distribute to families for Thanksgiving and for their Christmas dinner. The drop-off deadline is tomorrow, but you can drop off a turkey or ham at 1201 Main Street or 507 East Knox Street to help provide a family with a meal.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacobs.
Thank you. And I just wanted to thank you, Commissioner Burns, for sharing that. I did not know that it's about Major Bazemore. And since I've known him, he has been an incredible champion for mental health, a leader in NAMI, and this is his absolute passion. And I also want to acknowledge that the MAT program is really an outgrowth of Durham Joins Together, which is our countywide task force addressing medication and substance misuse. And we first got a grant to pilot the MAT program, and we've seen where that has come to the point where our board funded, I believe, close to $1 million this year to fully implement that program. And I think we need champions like Major Bazemore, who are so dedicated and really make things happen, because you can get the funding, but then they really need to, it needs people to actually implement them. So I really want to congratulate him on that, and to also say this is an example of partnership in our community, and I appreciate all the partners with the MAT program. My announcement was just going to be what we all heard about this morning, which is, and I thought maybe we would have had something commemorative, but it's just that it's National Public Health Day. And just want to thank our public health director, Rod Jenkins, and all of the public health workers who we know have been going nonstop since March of 2020 with the beginning of this pandemic, and not knowing what we were facing, but the contact tracing and the testing and trying to cover, and then of course the rollout of all the different phases of the vaccine programs. And just to say thank you to all of our public health workers on this special day.
Thank you, Commissioner Jacobs, and we can still do something in our next meeting for public health as an acknowledgement for that whole department. Any other comments, announcement? Seeing none, I will move on to our next item is our minutes. Commissioners, we have before us the October 4th work session and October 25th regular session minutes for approval. Are there any edits, any comments on the minute? Hearing none, I will accept a motion for approval.
So moved, Madam Chair.
And a second.
And I will second those.
Okay, moved by Commissioner Burns, second by Commissioner Jacobs. And we will have a verbal vote.
Commissioner, Commissioner Alam,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacobs,
Aye.
and Chair Howerton.
Aye. Minutes have been approved 5-0. We are at our consent agenda. Commissioners have reviewed a consent agenda. We have 6 items, and Interim Manager Hager, are there any questions or comments on these items? Hearing, if there are none, I'll wait. Did you say something? Manager Hager, was it?
Oh.
I didn't have any comments.
Then I will ask commissioners, are there any items that they would like to pull? Commissioner Jacobs?
Yes, I did want to pull item 21-0706, just for a few additional questions, mostly to help just provide information to the public.
Okay, we will move that one to the bottom of the agenda. Okay, any others, Commissioner? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to approve all items except 210706.
Madam Chair, I move for approval of the consent agenda, excluding 21-0706.
Been moved by Commissioner Lum. I need a second.
I'll second it.
Been moved by Commissioner Lum, second by Commissioner Carter. And I'll ask the clerk for a verbal vote.
Commissioner Alam,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacobs,
Sorry. Aye.
and Chair Howerton.
Aye. Consent agenda have been approved, all except for item number 210706. Now we have a public hearing. Commissioners, we have one public hearing before us, 210697, Unified Development Ordinance Text Amendment Update for Applications and Permits, PC 210004. The board is requested to conduct a public hearing and receive public comments on the Unified Development Ordinance Text Amendment Updates for Applications and Permits, PC 210004. Entertain two motions. We have Michael Stock, a planning manager, on the line to discuss the item. Now we have Sarah. Dad.
Commissioners, I apologize for the interruption. I'm getting a message from Mr. Stock that he's having a little bit of a technical issue and is unable to unmute, which normally we might welcome, but tonight on this item, we really need him. So let me do this because I don't have his script or anything with me. If you will give me just one minute, we'll work behind the scenes.
We can go to the next item if you need more time. Get him on the line, or is it?
I think that'd be good if you all wouldn't mind. I appreciate it.
Okay. All right. We'll just move to the next item and then come back. If the next item is ready, this is 210672, annual reporting update from Downtown Durham Inc. and the Greater Chamber of Commerce. The board is requested to receive a presentation on annual reporting from Downtown Durham Inc. and the Greater Chamber of Commerce, and Andy Miracle, Durham County Economic Development Officer, is here to introduce the additional persons in this conversation. Andy, there you are.
Thank you, Chair Howerton. Good evening, Commissioners. Andy Miracle, Durham County Economic Development. Tonight we will be hearing annual reporting updates from the Greater Durham Chamber of Commerce and Downtown Development Inc. Originally, we were looking to have this conversation closer to the start of the new fiscal year, but busy agendas and schedules left tonight as a more suitable date. With these presentations, both organizations will satisfy their annual reporting requirements. And with that, I will turn it over to Jeff Durham with the Greater Durham Chamber of Commerce, and I will get your presentation ready to share as well.
Hey, good evening, everybody. Good evening, Commissioners, Madam Interim Manager, staff, and neighbors. As Andy Miracle mentioned, I'm Jeff Durham, President and CEO of the Greater Durham Chamber of Commerce. I'd be remiss if I didn't shout out that we are really looking forward to seeing you all at the Chamber's annual Leadership Forum and Holiday Reception on December 15th. But in the meantime, it's always a pleasure to report out even more specifically on our work as one of your economic development agents. So you guys probably know there's some new faces in the Chamber since we last presented. So before I turn it over to Ryan Regan, who is our economic development lead, who started for us earlier this year, we are also joined by our newest team member, Angelique Stallings, which many of you all know. She's serving as our Vice President of Community Investment. and wanted to let you know that all three of the chamber team members will be available for questions and part of the discussion. But if I could just kick it over to Angelique real quick, say a few words. Angelique.
Excellent. Thank you, Jeff. And good evening, everyone, and good evening, commissioners. As Jeff mentioned, I am Angelique Stallings. I'm the Vice President of Community Investment for the Greater Durham Chamber of Commerce. And while I don't do a lot directly, specifically economic development related, you'll hear a lot more of that from my colleague, Ryan, who will be speaking after me. I do want to point out that in my role, you know, a lot of the work that we want to do and make sure that we continue to engage in, just want to point out some of those surrounding efforts that we are bringing to the business community and lending a helping hand. Our CEO, Jeff, just alone, he serves on the Durham Tech Board and leads one of their committees. He works on the Workforce Development Board, Made in Durham Board, Research Triangle Regional Partnerships, Executive Committee and Board, helped to lead the DPS Foundation Digital Equity Campaign, and served on the Recovery and Renewal Task Force. And between the rest of our team, we cover several other of those organization committees. And we have been very active with the Triangle DEI Alliance, DPS, CTE Advisory Board, Engage Durham, Partnership for Children, Census Complete Count Committee, Regional Transportation Alliance, Step Up. That's just to name a few. I could go on, but I just wanted to name a few of those. And, you know, these are where so much of the advancement in our workforce development, education, transportation, diverse purchasing, and more are happening, like the Bulls Initiative that I'm sure you all are aware of, a regional skills analysis, update, the Waymakers Collaborative, and we're also happy to assist the county on other projects and issues that arise. And that doesn't even include any of the chamber activities like the upcoming leadership forum and holiday reception that Jeff mentioned, that we hope that we will see you all in attendance, hosting our annual First Responders Appreciation virtually again this year, and then recognizing additional community champions through that small business give back. MedWeek events and the Take No Bull women's events that we have had throughout the year in our annual meeting. Jeff holds C-suite conversations with leaders throughout our Durham community and many other small events that we put on. We do have a number of initiatives in progress that will continue to unify local efforts and show how the support of our community values, and look forward to working together even more intentionally. And I am always here as a resource. I look forward to working with all of you in this capacity. I know we have all worked in the community and in different roles, but in this capacity, I look so forward to working with all of you. And so I'm here as a resource. And with that, I will hand it over to my colleague, Ryan Regan. Thank you, commissioners.
All right, thank you, Angelique. Always tough to follow Angelique on the agenda, but I'll do my best here. Good evening, commissioners, Madam Interim Manager, staff, and neighbors. I'm Ryan Regan, the Vice President of Economic Development for the Chamber, and I appreciate Andy pulling up my presentation. I started in my role earlier this year, as Jeff mentioned, back in February, and I'm glad to have had the opportunity to meet many of you in person or virtually since then. I have been in North Carolina most of my life and in economic development for my whole career. Even before starting in my role, I'd come to know Durham and the Triangle's economic development asset very well, mainly through interactions with my peers at North Carolina Economic Development Association events and through events of the International Economic Development Council. It is clearly an exciting time to be in the Triangle, and I feel fortunate to be in this position and to be strengthening our personal and institutional relationship with you, our partners. Having come from a very similar setup at the Asheville Chamber of Commerce, I have a lot of appreciation for the efficiencies that come from chambers working with local government and other partners on economic development. As we all know, Durham, the Research Triangle, and North Carolina are gaining attention for our strong regional talent, economic climate, and enviable quality of life. So within your last fiscal year alone, next slide, Andy, our work, often in partnership with the state and county and other partners like the NC Biotech Center, yielded announcements of over 3,000 new jobs and $700 million in capital investment. Both of these metrics, of course, have strong multiplier effect, creating and inducing additional jobs, opportunities, and taxes across a variety of industries. Not included in these numbers are a couple of projects that were unfortunately withdrawn post-announcement through no fault of our community, but that we're backfilling, as well as a couple that have happened since June. I see that those are represented in italics on your screen. And additionally, the Fidelity Investments announcement of 2,500 new jobs is also not included, given that that spanned multiple years. We've also provided you with some additional annual metrics that show that we continue to receive a lot of attention in our market that is outpacing many of our peers. But now I'd like to take the opportunity to share some of the trends that we're seeing. Next slide, please. As evidenced by some of these announcements, we remain a top hub for life sciences, one of the top hubs in the country, but we also see great promise around our growing tech presence. As I've told others to some degree, that once Google plants their flag in the middle of your community, and once Apple locates just on the periphery of your community, then all bets are off. I think we may be on the precipice of some pretty exciting tech growth in our market. Alongside or sometimes independent of these projects, new commercial and industrial development is also densifying some of our traditional job hubs. I know I'm preaching to the choir here, but the geography of economic opportunity in Durham is a keen focus of ours at the Chamber. We want to work with our local partners to ensure that no matter where someone lives in Durham County, they will be living not too far away from a high quality job opportunity that can support their family. To that end, we are excited about the economic development announcements and opportunities that we continue to capture in RTP, in downtown Durham, and in North Durham with Traburn Corporate Park. Speaking of Traburn, it was great to be at the Corning expansion announcement just last Friday and to hear from Chair Howerton and other dignitaries as we celebrated a great day for North Durham and all of Durham. Transformative development projects like Hub and RTP, the ATC expansion downtown, and the Venture Park planned in North Durham give us cause for further excitement about what the future holds for our community. Onto the second bullet, we're also getting much more detailed RFIs between myself and my predecessor. We completed 116 of them this past fiscal year, and also a tremendous number of site visits, almost a dozen this past year, with some of those being virtual or hybrid. I know it's technically a new fiscal year, but just in the next 10 days or so, we will have 2 new site visits, one in person and one virtual. We also continue to entertain all manner of other requests. So we greatly appreciate the work of Andy and the rest of our partners at the county who are providing a lot of support to keeping this car on the road, so to speak. We also work very closely with DDI, Discover Durham, RTP, and many partners both in Durham and across county lines as we operate regionally for the benefit of all residents and businesses. And we appreciate the growing local emphasis on small business support and greatly look forward to collaborating even more with the Greater Durham Black Chamber of Commerce, among many others. And on the last bullet, of course, it all goes back to talent. As you've heard, we're pleased to be involved with many of our local institutions and initiatives and appreciate the county's support of many of them. We greatly value our relationships with Durham Public Schools, the Local Workforce Development Board, Durham Tech, NC Central, Duke University, and the many educational institutions, chambers of commerce, and other partnering organizations across the region who are working to ensure that talent development remains a major competitive advantage of our region. Next slide, please. With all that said, even after another year of COVID, our projections remain strong, and it is on all of us to continue to ensure that the growth we are experiencing remains equitable. With that, we want to wish everyone a very happy Thanksgiving, and I look forward to hearing more about on-the-ground work of our partners at DDI. But as Jeff mentioned earlier, I think our team is happy to address any questions that commissioners may have.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Angelique. We always look forward to having, and thank you, Jeff. Always look forward to you coming before us. I have one question that you could answer for us. during a pandemic, how many companies that we have that came to Durham? Do you have a number?
So Commissioner Howerton, Ryan might have a more accurate number of the announcements that we've had those there, but I know that you and I, on a number of occasions, have had this conversation. And I say this in all due respect to our regional partners, so I'll frame it with that. But since April of 2020, so literally 2 weeks after the shutdown began, there was an article in the Triangle Business that listed the 15 largest investment job announcements in the entire region. 15 of them in the entire region, right? And so that's not just Wake and not just Durham. It's the full Research Triangle Regional Partnership region. And of those 15, 10 of them, 10 of the largest ones, were located in Durham. We are, as Ryan mentioned, we are the geographic heart of the Triangle, but we are 1/3 of the size of a Wake County from a demographic standpoint. Yet we're capturing 2/3 of them. And so I think that while you can look at these numbers here, and they're certainly awfully heady, we are more than adequately with our partnership with the county, carrying our weight and lifting up our end of the triangle.
Well, we certainly appreciate that, and we appreciate the region, but as county commissioners for Durham, we have to really pay attention to what's happening here in Durham, and it was truly an honor to be a part of the celebration at Cornyn last week. I was happy to be there, and I know that they are wanting to invite all of our commissioners out, and they were just being careful about with the virus to make sure that everybody is safe, and look forward to time when they can invite all the commissioners out.
And Commissioner Howerton, if I could take this moment, I just really wanted to thank all of our commissioners. We see you all so regularly at either announcements or site tours, and groundbreakings, ribbon cuttings. It's fantastic. Even at the Durham Tech dinner that we had recently, I believe was the last time that we saw all 5 of you all together. Just really appreciate the partnership, economic development, workforce development, talent development, equitable growth. It's a team sport. It's a team effort. And everybody on this call today has a huge hand in that. So I just wanted to thank you all very much.
Commissioners, comments or questions? And I can't see your hands. So if you are wanting to speak, go ahead, because I can't want to take your PowerPoint now. Thank you. Now I can see your hands. Okay. I see Commissioner Jacobs and Commissioner Burns. Go ahead.
Thank you. And thank you to Jeff, Ryan, and welcome, Angelique. I just want to say thank you to everyone for what is really a team effort. I think Angelique really captured it with with her comments, and it is truly amazing, Jeff, all the different boards and committees that you are engaged with in the community. And also I want to give a shout out to Brian Fox as well, who's, I don't know if he's here tonight, but he has also really, since the pandemic started, been working so hard to keep communication going, keep people engaged. And that is, I think, at the end of the day, what the key is, everybody really working together for our community. So I don't want to put that slide back up again because then we can't see everybody. But the slide that listed the 3,080 jobs and the $738.5 million worth investment, I would love to get a little bit of a revision of that also let us know which of those had direct involvement from Durham County, because some of those we were directly involved with incentives. I think that would be helpful. And also which ones were expansions versus completely new companies and which ones were headquarters, because we've had kind of a variety of all of those different things happening. And I think it is interesting to look at that and to have an idea related to that. So it would be great if we could get that. And I also appreciated the slide where you talked about the secondary jobs. When you said that we have 8,000, we're going to project it to have 8,000 over the next 5 years. And then on top of 14 secondary jobs, I think that's something that we don't talk about enough about, the supply chains and all the opportunities for businesses to benefit from the new, from this type of economic development. So I was glad to see that. And I guess one question I have is just how you all view the role of transit and transportation, and then challenges around affordable housing as we look to the future, and how you feel like the chamber can be, I think, more directly involved, especially around some of the questions we have for us related to transportation, because it feels like, actually with a lot of companies being centered in RTP, that we could have some real congestion in our hands if we go back to people working in person. And just thinking about, also we're working on the education to job pipeline, thanks to you all being a part of that solution.
Yeah, Commissioner Jacobs just froze momentarily. I'll defer to Jeff on the last question, but on the first question, just wanted to make sure you're aware, Commissioner Jacobs, I'm happy to provide those additional details to Andy. I've got the mother of all Excel spreadsheets where I list out all those attributes that you mentioned. So I'll provide that information to Andy as soon as tomorrow. So I appreciate the question, and I'll have to hand things over to Jeff because he's got a little bit more perspective on the transit conversation than my relative newbie over here.
Sure, thank you, and thank you, Commissioner, for those questions. Yes, absolutely. As part of our policy legislative agenda, the two of the biggest things that lift up are indeed around regional transportation and housing affordability. Not just with the workforce housing, the 60-80% AMI, the work that DHA is doing through the cities for the recently passed affordable housing bond, but really providing for additional density to create some of that middle class housing that we don't get to see get built very much. That $280,000 to $300,000 townhome, and starting to add to that stock, we can have a wide array of entry points from the housing market for ownership, and more variety as far as entry points for rent. So that's a critical piece of that. A lot of that can be solved through additional density, but it's also critically important to make sure we connect people with where they live to major employment centers. Ryan did an excellent job of laying out geographically where our concentrated areas of commerce are in, and absolutely we need to be doing a better job. I've had this conversation with everybody on this call today about how do we get people up to Traber. So many of the manufacturing and logistics jobs that are coming along with the R&D type work that so much of our bioscience, life science companies have are located up there, and many people are looking for a public transit solution to get to those places of work. So our involvement with RTA has been really, really critical as far as leading the discussions around kind of how Durham fits in, and really describing what is a complex mosaic of transportation solutions around multimodal option. And so that's a continued conversation that we have to bring our business community in, as well as our local public sector partners in, to help guide that discussion. There's not just one solution, and I think that really where sometimes we fall short is we're selling a project, and that project has a has a price tag. And what we really should be doing is selling a broader vision. And I think that that's where our partnership with RTA is absolutely critical. I also should mention that we've had co-hosted a couple of different inner city visits, one recently everything's a compressed timing with this. So a couple of summers ago, we were able to go up to Richmond and take a look at what BRT bus rapid transit looks like, as well as commuter rail. And we're also planning with Go Triangle and RTA a trip to South Beach later in January in the new year. Take a look at what their commuter rail looks like and some of their transportation solutions. There's a lot of similarities there. So we'll continue to help partner with you all to kind of help guide and lead these discussions. They're complex discussions, but they're the hard conversations that come along with that list that Commissioner Jacobs referred to with the investments and the jobs and the expansions. We'll always have to make sure that we see the entire picture in its totality as far as that's concerned.
Thank you, Jeff. Mr. Burns and Manager, I think your hand is up.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. Andy, we know you don't always do it by yourself, so hey, how you doing? Jeff, Angelique, Ryan, Plum, pleased and pleasure to see y'all this evening. I also hats off Commissioner Howerton. I know that you, myself, Claudia, and a whole bunch of other people on this call. Jeff, you were at the Novo Nordisk tour, so we know about the transportation issue. They were even trying to get us out of there before 5 o'clock. So you've hit some of that. So I know that there's some of us who've been on the ground kind of sort of working on that one. So I'm not going to harp on that. But what I do want to ask you all while we have you on the line, because you all get to see the big data, you get to look at the analytics, you get to see what's coming into the community. And we know that all of it, we will see some more movement downtown. We've seen the shift. Eli Lilly's coming downtown. We've seen some people. So now we're sporadically seeing people pop up in these unconventional places, especially with people working from home. And you got the Great Resignation, so folks don't need as much space, might not need as much space as we see down in RT or that we need or that we see in Trayburn. So I'll bother DDI about the office space. But what I want to hear y'all about, what are some of the things that you all see on the horizon? We already know that when it comes to biopharma and biotech, we're MAC, right? You said it yourself that Apple, Google, these force multipliers, we saw what happened right after Apple announced. Grail gave us more jobs, Fidelity gave us more jobs. I'm trying to see, like, what is number 3? Like, we know, what is that third thing that might be bubbling up to the top of the soup? Our next great industry where we can prepare people. Because we do often have, these conversations amongst ourselves. How we're going to make sure that people in Durham get these jobs. I know we always, and y'all done a great job. Let me be very clear, because we do have them at all levels. And we talk about justice involved, and we know that we can't put, the FDA is not going to let us put felons on every manufacturing line. So what is that third industry that might be bubbling up? That's the question. And number 2, like, what are some things that we can do as a commission, kind of sort of aid and cultivate that? Because this is great for now, but I want to be able to do this presentation in 2 years and 3 years, and it is continuous, right? So what's number 3 and number 4 that we just might not?
Yeah, thanks, Commissioner Burns. I'd like to take a stab at it, and Jeff will follow on. So this question kind of aligns with a little bit of a niche interest of mine, so hopefully I don't get too long-winded here. But in terms of other...
out, Ryan. First time, knock yourself out.
Careful what you wish for. But in terms of other industries that we set up very, very well for, I can tell you, because I see a lot of the project activity and the leads from EDP&C that trickles down to us. There have been more electric vehicle battery projects or electric vehicle supply chain opportunities in the past month than literally ever in the state's history. Whenever you guys have an hour of your time to kill, just call me up and we can talk electric vehicles. It's just something that I'm totally fascinated by.
And not to stop you, but we lost Ford F-150. We lost those 4,500 jobs for the electric Ford F-150. So, okay, just thanks, Mark Robinson. But go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you guys read the Triad Business Journal much, but there's possibly a big EV battery project related to Toyota Mazda that could be just days away from announcing. But anyway, our market I say we align very well for this sector because unlike, older automobile plants, what really drives these decisions in like a Tesla a manufacturing facility or other production facility that is producing electric vehicles, it's engineering talent, right? So it's kind of like the reason that Google and Apple came here is because of our tech talent. So too will these future electric vehicle manufacturers and other supply chain opportunities come here because they place a great emphasis on engineering talent. So of course in our region, in our county, we don't have the huge acreage to accommodate an OEM, but in nearby Chatham County, they've got two of the best large mega sites in the whole state. So I see a lot of activity just kind of, that comes across my desk, and I also just see our assets aligning very well for this industry. Of course, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that our community and our elected officials, the fact that we value environmental sustainability is of course a big component there, because this comes up all the time in conversations I have with companies, not EV specific, but they of course want to land in a community that shares the same values that they share. And of course, a lot of corporate boardrooms are talking about environmental sustainability and diversity, equity, and inclusion, and all these things that Durham has long valued. So there you go, long-winded answer, electric vehicle industry.
Thank you.
That was right along where I was going to land also, Ryan. Well played. I was also thinking we are watching our ag tech starting to kind of really get some legs again. Also, that's already here. That's really what that's the root of our state, and so we're really watching how that will cultivate too. So I would say that you asked for two. I think those are the top two.
Okay. Thank you, both Jeff and Ryan. Manager Hager, your hand's up.
Well, my hand was not up, but I did want to say that we're just so grateful for the Chambers partnership. And there have been over the years so many areas in which they've played a role in helping us regionally compete, and we're grateful for your partnership.
Thank you. Any other comments from commissioners? Hearing none, I want to say thank you again for this evening, and also want to thank you, Jeff, and your team for changing the date, make sure that the commissioners wouldn't have to run out of the meeting. We have a board meeting that on the 13th, is it the 13th or the 14th? I think the 14th, and normally you have it on an evening where we run in and we run out. We didn't have time to just kind of hang with you guys and enjoy the community members. So thank you for shifting that so we can stay. Any other comments from commissioners? Well, thank you again. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Angelique, Jeff, Ryan. Appreciate it. All righty. We have another presentation, DDI.
Yes. We also have Nicole Thompson, President and CEO of Downtown Durham.
Okay.
Good evening, commissioners, Commissioner Chair Howerton, commissioners, Madam Interim Manager. Very happy to be here remotely with you this evening to give you an update of activities that DDI accomplished and worked on in fiscal year 2021. Wish I could just say ditto everything Jeff said, but you probably actually want me to go through a presentation. So I will humor you, and I will do that for you. So if Andy can put up the presentation, I'll run through a couple of slides to share with you what we have done over the last 12 months. That's the last slide. Don't look, close your eyes, close your eyes.
We're going backward.
Yeah, close your eyes, don't look, don't look. Ignore what's on. Okay, there we go. All right.
All right.
Here we go. So I'll run through this very quickly and try to answer as many questions once I've concluded the presentation. This is just a shot of downtown. We are standing looking down Foster Street towards CCB Plaza and 21C, the old CCB Tower, which I still know it as, and still think of it as. This is one of our streeteries that was held in April. So just to give you a feel of some of the activity that we were trying to encourage in our downtown area to get people to come out and shop local and spend money in the downtown environment. Do I advance or do you advance, Andy? Okay, a little bit about DDI for those who don't know us, which I hope is none of you. I hope you all know who we are, but we are Downtown Durham Incorporated. Our mission is to enhance the environment, economy, and vitality of downtown Durham while preserving and enriching its distinctive culture and strong sense of community. And that continues to be what we lead with, and it becomes more and more difficult each day as downtown Durham, with all of the major announcements that are occurring both in downtown and around downtown, bring in more and more people. But all of them are coming because of that distinctive culture and strong sense of community. So we fight and work daily with our partners to ensure that we maintain that. Our vision as a downtown is the diverse, unique, and thriving heart of Durham and is welcoming to all. And our goals and what we work on, we have 4 of them: clean and safe, through our ambassador team and our work with our partners; economic development, which we have funding from you to pursue; placekeeping; and marketing. So a little bit about what's happening in the downtown market. For office, and on these slides, these next few slides, I'm comparing fiscal year 20 to fiscal year 21. So just to be very clear, and then showing you what it looks like to date in that third column. So at the end of fiscal year 20, we had 3.9, just under 4 million square feet of office square footage that had been built and was in use. We had an 11% increase to 4.3 at the end of fiscal year 21. And currently we have just shy of 4.8 or 4.9 million in built, planned, and under construction. And in fact, that number has gone up since this presentation was done, with some other announcements that have been made, to just under or just around 5 million, a little over 5. Some of the major announcements, many of you are aware, we did not want to forget Policy Genius. You all may recall that happened right before COVID. We were all at the Chamber's office for that major announcement of them moving a headquarters to the Durham area at 555 Mangum. But since that time, we all are also aware that Google announced one of its 4 engineering hubs would be located in Durham. Currently, they are filling space at the Durham Innovation District, 200 Morris Street, which will be their temporary location, and we are all working to ensure that their wish of staying in downtown can occur. And then we just recently, within the last month or so, had the announcement of GSK moving from RTP into the downtown area to the American Tobacco campus, leasing 65,000 square feet or 68,000 square feet, and bringing about 650 employees into the downtown market. So we're very excited about those large announcements. Some of the office developments that are in the pipeline and under construction. Of course, the American Tobacco campus phase 3 on the former car dealership site. The Durham ID phase 2 announcement that was made a couple of months ago for some additional lab and office space. Roxborough at Venable Center, which is under construction and should be completed probably first to second quarter of next year. And then the Gregson, which is located behind Brightleaf Square near the Pettigrew parking garage, and is a development being done by Wexford Science and Technology. For residential, this is an area where we are seeing tremendous growth. I think, as all of you all are aware, at the end of fiscal year 20, we had just over 4,000 units in the downtown area. Using a multiplier, we estimate that was about 8,000 to about 8,800 people living in the downtown area. And at the end of fiscal year 21, we had 4,386 units with an additional, we estimate about 9,000 people living in the downtown market. Right now, under construction and planned, we have 7,886 units planning to come into the downtown market. That's a very large number of residential units in and around. And I should note that this is not just within our 3/4 of a square mile, the area that we focus most of our attention. This includes residential units that are just adjacent, so things that are just outside of our district. And for those who are not aware, our district roughly is from East Campus to Golden Belt and the old ballpark to the new ballpark. We do not cross over 147. But for the purposes of tracking some information, residential units being one of them, we will take into account development that's occurring just outside of that boundary. These are some of the projects that are in the pipeline for residential. As you can see, there are a number of them. I think on this, we probably have about 15 that are listed. We have indicated with an asterisk those that are not in the downtown business improvement district, but are just adjacent. This information, to include number of units, can be found in our quarterly report, which you will receive in the next couple of days, I believe. I do apologize for the delay in getting that to you, but we have completely revamped that document to offer it in a more appealing presentation and to get the information out a little more concise. But you will be able to find all of this information in that document when you receive it. The one thing that I will note is that the old police headquarters that we have there, you may be aware, but the city is working through the process of identifying a new developer, and what that developer or development team will bring to the table, we're still waiting to hear. The development team has not been announced. The city is in the process of receiving requests for qualifications, and from that they will select development teams who will then submit a proposal. So I would expect sometime mid to late next year we will have a better understanding of what will happen at the old police headquarters site. When we were talking about merchants, these are street level businesses. These are our small, locally owned and independent businesses. This is what we spent the majority of our time and effort on last year. With COVID, we focused all of our attention trying to help and support and keep these businesses afloat and alive, recognizing that without these businesses, we would not have almost 5 million square feet of office space. We would not have the development interest. We would not have the investment. We would not have the office users. We would not have the Googles and the policy geniuses and the GSKs wanting to be in downtown. They are coming because of the wonderful environment that these businesses create in our downtown market. And quite honestly, it was these businesses that had the forethought and had the vision for downtown and were in the downtown area well before we started to see the great growth that we are seeing in downtown. In fiscal year 20, we had 177 businesses. We had a net decrease of 1% between fiscal year 20 and fiscal year 21. However, when we go to the next slide and we look just at what happened since the start of the pandemic to today, and this is actually the end of October, I believe. I think we were using the end of October as our cutoff point. We actually had 21 merchants that closed, but we had 38 that opened. So we had a net gain over those 2 fiscal years during COVID of 17 businesses. That was quite an increase. Certainly, we were very sorry to see those that closed. We lost some great institutions that have been a part of our downtown for many, many years, to include Morgan Import. I am hearing quite a bit now about how sad people are that Morgan Imports is not in downtown, because that's where they would come and do their Christmas shopping. And so we know that we'll miss those institutions in our downtown area. However, we did have 38 small businesses that opened. I'll stop here to say that we have, of these 181 businesses that we currently have, and these are just retail, restaurants, and bars. On top of that 181, we have another 89 service-oriented businesses. So that would be your hair salons, your personal fitness, designer, printing companies, and things like that. Out of that total, 88 of them are minority or Latino. So we are very excited. Certainly there's more we can do and more that we are trying to do to increase the number of minority and female-owned businesses in our downtown area. But we are seeing more and more come into the downtown area and express an interest in being in downtown. The next slide, we'll show you those merchants, street level businesses that are in the pipeline. So they have been announced, and we're awaiting for their opening. This does not indicate those that are minority, but as I look at this, three of them are minority owned, and 3 are female owned. That's going off the top of my head. And then this is not a comprehensive list. Again, we have, since this presentation was completed, we've had a few more that have announced. So we're excited to see the number of small businesses that continue to grow in our downtown area and continue to thrive in the downtown area and that want to be a part of the downtown area. Many of them did struggle. Last year was certainly a difficult time for our small businesses. I will share that 33 of them did receive restaurant relief funding. So they used that, plus many of them received PPP. And we now have a grant program that we are offering to just downtown street level businesses, customer facing businesses. It is a grant that we received from Duke Energy Foundation's Hometown Revitalization Grant. We received $25,000 and we are using that funding to help businesses that had to change their operation in order to stay afloat or to adjust as they're coming out of COVID. In addition to that, to help businesses, we also purchased any number of tables and chairs and then donated them to the businesses for outdoor dining. We continue to work with the city on that program. Next slide. Just a little bit beyond economic development, because we do more than just recruitment of businesses, investment in downtown, development in downtown, and the small business community. In order to support all of those things, we do have an ambassador program. This is paid entirely by the Business Improvement District tax that we receive through the city. We have 11 members of our ambassador team, and this is just snapshots of some of the work that they do. As you can see, we take great pride in making sure that we keep Major clean. But in addition to that, we were the body that was in the downtown area when a lot of people weren't in downtown, keeping it clean, removing graffiti. Right now, we're in the midst of leaf pickup. They're falling off a little later than anticipated. So we're out there trying to take care of that. And then just in general, keeping the downtown area clean of debris and trash. Some of the things that we did do in downtown over the last year that we are known for. We were the institution that was responsible for the streetery since April of 2021. Many of you may recall that we did this late 20 and early, or actually late 2020. We did this from October, every weekend from October, the first part of October through the very beginning of December, where we shut down roads within the downtown core for Friday evening and Saturday evening. We brought that back this year in 2021, and since April of 2021, we have had 9 streeteries. Our last streetery was the October 23rd in Gear Street. We will not be doing that anymore. We will bring it back in a different kind of way in 2022. But we did 9 streeteries in 7 different locations. We moved it around the downtown. We did it all day on a Saturday. It was the 2nd and 4th Saturday of each month. And through that program, we worked with and hired 65 local performers and artists. 53% of them were people of color and 52% of them were females. So again, recognizing that our local art community and performance community needed assistance, we continued to work with them and provide opportunities for them to be out and about as people were coming back outside. And these are just some shots from the streetery. We also have brought back Third Friday. We suspended that during COVID because, of course, People were not congregating in small spaces. So we slowly brought it back. We did a soft launch in July and then a full launch in August. And we now are back full force working with our local art galleries for Third Fridays. So if you haven't been down, please come down on a third Friday. It starts at 5 o'clock and goes until 9. And we have buskers back out on the downtown area. And we're working with our galleries to better promote that. We are not the entity that programs that. We work with our art galleries to program that. We are the entity that markets what the art galleries are doing on Third Friday and then provide the bus. And many of you know that we are also the institution that works to light the tree at CCB Plaza. So we are in the process of doing that now. In fact, the individuals that we're working with, the business that we're working with this year is out today and tomorrow putting lights on the tree. The tree is purchased by the city and they place the tree and then we cover it with lights. This tree will be strung with 4,000 lights. And then we will also put lights in the larger trees at CCB Plaza. And we have lights at 5 points, blue lights on the base of the trees in 5 Point, blue light at Black Wall Street Garden, and we have lights on the bridge at Central Park, Durham Central Park. The lights are on every place but here at CCB Plaza. This is a picture from last year. We will turn these on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and then we will have them on for Shop Second Saturday or Shop Small Saturday on the 27th of November. We are not doing any programming this year. When we needed to schedule the program, the performers for the programming, things were still a little we were still a little unsure about where COVID would be, and we did not want to plan and then have to cancel because of a rise in numbers. So we opted not to do any programming this year. So we will do something very similar to what we did last year, where we will do points of light working with private sector partners, and we will have a map showing people where they can go throughout the downtown area to see light in the downtown area. That could be as small as a person who puts lights on their balcony, all the way up to what American Tobacco Campus will have with the water tower, what Golden Belt will be doing, or LRC will be doing at Golden Belt and other places of light. Next slide. Finally, again, we are still focused on trying to help our small businesses. Things are still difficult for them, so we are still working to find ways to bring people into the downtown area. So we have, if you're not aware, right before COVID, we launched a Spendable gift card. It is an e-gift card that can only be used in the downtown area within that downtown district. It works just like a gift card. You can go onto our website. You can purchase a card from as little as $5 to as much as $500. You can purchase it for yourself. You can give it as a gift and then use it. Use it in the downtown area. There is no fee. There is no charge. There is no membership cost for our small businesses. Those costs are taken care of. It is just a way to get more money into the hills and into the stores in order to keep them open. For November 27th, we will be really pushing, come and use your Spendable card for Shop Small Saturday. Again, this is the big event after Thanksgiving. We know that there are quite a few of these that have not been redeemed. A number of corporations purchased them last year and gave them out as holiday gifts, and people haven't come downtown yet. So we are doing a big push through social media, as well as Durham Magazine and the News and Observer, to come downtown, use your Spendable, and if you use your Spendable, then we'll give you, I think it's $10, maybe wrong, but we'll give you an additional Spendable to use at a later date. We're really trying to get people to come into the downtown area on Saturday, use their money locally, and help our businesses through the next few months as they continue to climb out of the ramifications of COVID. Finally, I think there are 2 more slides. I wanted to mention that we continue to work with our private sector partners to raise funding. These are just some of our larger partners who have come forward to help us do our Partners in Progress. We did not do this last year, knowing that businesses were all focused on just how to get through COVID. We suspended our private sector fundraising drive, but we have brought it back. And these are just a few of the larger businesses that we're working with who support our efforts around economic development. And then very quickly, here are some of the things that we are going to be working on in 2022. I know I'm running out of time, but we will continue to focus on economic development. We are looking to do a downtown Durham master plan. We usually do those every 10 years. However, with COVID and what has happened, we are going to actually move that ahead of schedule and try to do one next year. And really look at what the downtown environment looks like and what things we need to focus on and how we can really drive some very sustainable and good development. We will be working on a State of Downtown Durham event, which we hold in April. We did a Downtown Durham Summit. I think many of you all attended. Our hope is that in April of 2022, we will be able to do something, if not completely inside, at least inside and outside, to celebrate all the great things that are going on in downtown. We are getting ready to hire a new director of Clean and Safe in order to help us with not only what the ambassadors are working on, but also working with our partners around homeless and panhandling and some other issues in the downtown area as we continue to grow. Our placekeeping efforts continue, and I'm not going to go through all of these, but just some of the things are here that we're working on to support downtown. Next slide is one of the things that we're most proud of. We are now working to try to show to people who come into the downtown area that there are families, that there are individuals, that there are people behind the businesses that they are walking past and that they're shopping in. So we are doing Bull City Heartbeat. These are 90 to 120 second videos, very short videos, where we highlight a individual, a business owner in the downtown area, small business owner in the downtown area. We have done 3 of these. Tessie's Gallery, Gorsha and Gojo, and Hamilton Hill are the 3. They're on our website. They just speak a little bit about why they're in business, why they're in downtown, and what they love about downtown. So they are very heartfelt. There is no coaching, there is no planning, there is no text that they're reading from. We're working with a minority producer to do these videos, and as we raise money, we'll do more of them. We have a little bit of a waiting list now as we raise money, but it's really just a way for folks to recognize and understand that there are people who are struggling, who are doing this out of a love for the work that they're doing, out of the food that they are making, out of the community that they are creating within their 4 walls. And we want people to recognize that and understand that. We will develop little QR codes so that as people come into a store or walk past a store, they can load that on their phone and they can learn a little bit more about the owner of that establishment. So I think with that's the end of my presentation. Thank you for your time, and look forward to answering all of your questions, but I'm sure you have none because what could you possibly ask?
Well, thank you, Nicole. Thank you so much. And I serve on your board, but I do have one quick question, and I'm sure you can answer it really quick. Back probably maybe about a year ago, we had conversations about the downtown area and Black and brown businesses, Black and brown owned businesses. And you were working on a plan to invite more diverseness in the businesses downtown. Can you share a little bit as to what your strategy has been to make that happen?
We work we provide very intense one-on-one assistance. So when an individual contacts us, minority and or female-owned business contacts downtown Durham and wants to locate in the downtown Durham area, and we do this for any business. It's not just a minority business. Any business that contacts us, any individual who wants to open a business, we meet with them. We'll talk with them. We'll share with them based on what their needs are, the different spaces that are available. We have that working with our commercial brokers. Based on what they tell us, we will try to steer them in an area that makes the most sense. So, if we need a lot of walkability, their business is relying on that, and we'll put them someplace where we know there's a lot of walkability. Really more of a destination, then that opens up where we can put them. We introduce them to the developers because we have a lot of the developers who are working on projects will come to us and ask, hey, we would like to keep this local small business feeling that is in downtown Durham going. Can you connect us with people? So we will connect them with different businesses. For those businesses, those minority women-owned businesses, we try to find what I have learned over 25 plus years. Truly, it is a lack. Not the only problem, but a huge problem is the lack of information, the not knowing. So we have begun to reach out to partners outside of the downtown area, introduce ourselves, and explain why we want those businesses in downtown. And it's not just for a number, so we can say, hey, and look, we've got 80 businesses, and oh look, 75 of them are minority. Yay! It's really not that. It is more. That is what is Durham. That's what speaks to Durham. And we need that and we want that in downtown. So it is you can call it a recruitment where we actually go out and we're working with our partners who then come to us and they will bring to us individuals who might be interested in being in the downtown area. And we will work very closely with them. We will work with our small business resource providers and ensure that they have the necessary skill and knowledge of their business. We are very candid with them so that they understand what it means to be located in a downtown environment, that is very different than strip mall or in a mall. For those businesses that I don't think would make it in downtown because of their customers need 5 hours of parking, I would never suggest that they come to downtown. That's not a business that needs to be in downtown. So it's a lot of listening. Some very specific things that we have done in the past is as we identify a business that is interested in being downtown, but may not have a following, or their brand isn't known by the downtown area, we will work with our partners, private property owners, and we have done pop-ups so that the business can get a feel for what it means to be in downtown, what they need to do to capture people as they walk by, and then also people can start recognizing their name. That's what we did with Juddist. The owner of Juddist came to us, actually came to us through a city council member. We talked with them, reached out to the owners of Pinhook, who allowed the owner to use that space during the day, just to start building brand name. So those are some of the things we do. It really is case by case. We are currently looking at a way that we DDI might be able to have space where we can house a retail space that could be available for a small minority and or women-owned business. So that we are doing something. And then we surround that business with the necessary resources to ensure that they are strong and can succeed in the downtown area. So that's a long-winded question, but it's a difficult question that doesn't have a very easy answer because it depends on the business, depends on what the business's needs are, it depends on the maturity and the sophistication of that business. If I don't think the business is strong enough and it needs help, then I'm not going to put it in downtown just to say we've got another minority business. I want the business owner to go through the necessary, not even training, but to spend some time with a resource that can go through their budget, can go through their pro forma, can explain and help them with marketing and legal issues. And sometimes that takes time, especially for minority businesses that don't always have the same things that a majority-owned business might have when they come and sit down.
Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate the answer. Commissioners, questions or comments from you? Commissioner Long.
Thank you, Chair Howerton. So good to see you, Nicole.
You too.
As always. I also want to thank you for the event that you hosted also with DDI during the election. You hosted that pop-up event in downtown, and I think it was really great to be able to have a space for all the candidates to engage with constituents just walking through and getting food in downtown. I had one question, and this is something like, if the information is not available now, you can email it later. When you were talking about, and I know this is also more so a city-related area, but the housing that you mentioned that is coming up in the downtown area, do we know what percentage of those housing units that are being developed are at or below like 60% AMI, affordable housing for at or below 60% AMI? And if there's any information that, or like analysis that's been done on the housing that isn't affordable, of how it's impacting the cost of living around that area where it's being developed?
The number of, I was trying to find it quickly, but of course I can't. The number of, have it easy for me to put my hands on. The number of units that are affordable, that is in the quarterly report that you will get. It is not a large number. I mean, I'm not going to say because I'll get it wrong. So, but it is not a large number, and that is a struggle. You know, we are very happy with the ribbon cutting that occurred within this last quarter for the Willard Street apartments, the 82 unit, but that's 82 units. And so certainly there is more that needs to be done. We will see more affordable housing units with the 2 developments that you were doing. The county is doing at 300 and 500. We will see 51 units at the senior apartments that are being built adjacent to Willard Street. 505, the old police headquarters site, will have a minimum of 80 units. That's required by the city. That's one of their criteria for the redevelopment of that site. So there are spaces where this is coming up, but it is, again, there's a long way to go. It is not what is being led by developers when discussing housing. The multifamily residential is something that is very easy to build in downtown, and it's very, very quick to get constructed, and it moves very quickly, and given all the announcements we have, it fills very quickly. So that is being driven by a market that's difficult to stop. With land prices as high as they are, it's also very difficult to build affordable housing and then cover the cost. So there are a lot of challenges that are facing the mix of affordable housing within the downtown area. Certainly we are looking forward to hearing the redevelopment that will be occurring at DHA's properties. Many of them are in and adjacent to downtown, so I think we will see some additional affordable housing coming there. You know, some other developments that are happening that we know of. J.J. Henderson has been announced, so there's some additional affordable housing, as well as the redevelopment of Odom Towers and Liberty, the Liberty apartment. So we know of some that are coming. That actual number of affordable housing units is in that document that you'll receive. I believe Andy said he'll be sending that out tomorrow. So you'll get that information.
Thank you so much for that. Look forward to the report.
Thank
you. Commissioner Burns.
I will be quick. Nicole, as always, please and pleasure. And for somebody who didn't have any notes, you did a great job rattling that off. And we look forward to that report. I just want to throw in, I remember doing the downtown, the DDI summit. We talked about how much office space was already used up. I think it's about 90%. And then you talked a little bit, we don't have to put the PowerPoint back up, but I know you said we kind of sort of moved that number up about 11%. We got, instead of it being 480,000, 480 million, we have all the, like 100,000 more, square feet. I guess where I'm coming in, a lot of our agents just got some of these ambassador grants from SBA and got, funding from PDA. And so we're seeing a lot of our companies pivot, right? They figured out, oh, I might be better at this. And so while they might not come back to what they used to do, they might come back to something new, and it might be advantageous for it to be downtown. And so you don't have to speak about South Point or downtown or RT or Trayburn. But as we are looking at this very limited space, are we also seeing like the same way we see these absorbent, these crazy amounts for housing, are we seeing that with office space? Or are we also have folks say, you know what, I want to make, affordable office space. I remember years ago, like Dorian Bolden, remember how hard it was for him to find a space. So we put a small office in front of BU. I don't know if people even remember that. It was called a small, and you could use like an hour. And we're working on incubator spaces, and other people are too. But as people are trying to pivot in the pandemic, as opposed to just profiting, what are you seeing high rents as something that encumbers being able to do?
Well, certainly as office developments are happening, a lot of what we're seeing coming online and that was announced is Class A or lab space research. That's really driving what's happening in downtown. The Gregson, which is a Wexford project, as well as Durham ID Phase 2. All of that is probably going to be filled with either tech or life science or bioscience, because that's what those two developers do. The Venable, the 200,000 square feet or so that is being constructed and should be finished soon at the Roxborough at the Venable, that is being constructed so that it can be converted either to Class A or lab. We're seeing a lot of interest from lab. Longfellow announcing that their next development is going to be mostly lab. Supports that. We have seen that Biolabs North Carolina, NC Biolabs, that started in a small space at Wexford, at the Chesterfield. 3-4 years ago, has expanded once and is getting ready to expand again, and is still kind of bursting at the seams. So these smaller biotech companies and life science companies are popping up continuously. And as they pop up, we want to ensure that we can keep them in downtown. We hear that they like to be downtown. They like that ability to leave and walk and get what they need and come back and finish their work. So this additional space that is being built will certainly be supported, I think, by this lab work. You can't do lab work. You can't do that in your kitchen. That's a little hard to do. Yes, you could, but I don't think it'd be the wisest thing. But on the question around affordability, we are seeing some co-working spaces that are popping up that are leaning towards the smaller space, the more affordable space. It was announced again last quarter. When I say last quarter, I'm talking July, August, September. So I'm three months behind the last quarter that I'm talking about. But we saw, and this actually might have been this quarter, we saw the announcement of Durham Bottling Company that is in the old smashing boxes. That is very much in support of helping and supporting smaller businesses that have a social conscious, businesses that are in need of more relaxed rent. So that, I think their grand opening actually might have been late October, mid to late October. So that's just one example of some of the creative co-working spaces that are being created. We still have WeWork, and we still have spaces which opened at 555 Mangum, which are supporting the more corporate businesses. We still have American Underground that is doing quite well with the tech, but we are seeing these smaller spaces that are opening up that are really looking towards affordability. Self-help continues to have quite a bit of affordable office space in the downtown area. The building we're located in is very much Class B office space, and they have some additional Class B office space. So I don't think we're necessarily in need of that. When you look at the report that you'll get tomorrow, you will see that for this last quarter, our occupancy is, I think, overall 88%. The interesting thing, and this is the first time I have noticed this, for Class B, the occupancy was 95%. That's quite high. It was 81%, I think, for Class C. And then it was in the upper 80s for Class A. So overall, it evened out to about 88%, I believe. I'm quoting those numbers right. So we are seeing a bit of an uptick in the amount of the occupancy of Class B office space. I don't know what's driving that. Again, this is the first time that it has been the highest of the three different types of office uses. So it's something that we need to watch and see if that's a trend or just a little spike, because I don't think we really can do much speculating with COVID still kind of playing. I think we need to give it some time to really see what's going to happen and how things level out.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Nicole. Do you have a question, Mr. Jacobs?
Yes, thank you. And Nicole, thank you for your report. And I really want to express my gratitude for everything that you and your team have done since the pandemic started. It has just, I mean, all of your efforts, I mean, you went through them in the report, but it has really made a difference. And I'm really grateful to all of you for the support. And as you've highlighted, you know, how interlinked all of these issues are. And of course, the bottom line is the sales tax revenue that we need, the property tax revenue that we get from downtown and that fund all of the county programs and services in our community. And the job, so it's so important. It sounds like, I think some of my colleagues have asked these questions related to affordable housing, related to affordable office, that the data may be in the quarterly report. Is that in the quarterly report? Is there also information about rents and the affordable rents for retail and restaurants and things like that? Is that something that's being tracked?
No, we track the average rent for residential. Right now, it's at the average rent is at $16.60, which is high when compared to other parts of the downtown. But it's a difficult number to get. Not everyone wants to share, so I have to get that in an aggregate form. We know that within the center of downtown, retail is going for probably, I'll say mid, but probably upper 20 per square foot, 20 in the upper 20s per square foot. As you move out of the core, the center of downtown, it drops a little bit. But you know, we did not see that significant drop in rents per square foot that a lot of people were predicting back in March and April of 2020. Things kind of slowed down, but a lot of that, you know, we didn't see property owners kicking people out and dropping rents and things of that nature. We were fortunate that a number of our property owners worked with our small businesses, helped them get through that. But now we're trying to keep in mind that those small businesses are paying off debt. They're paying off rents that were deferred for a number of months. They're paying off suppliers, and then put on top of that supply chain issues, and put on top of that workforce issues. But to your question, we don't really track the rent, and we don't really track the commercial rents, the retail rents, or the residential rents, because it's a little difficult. I am considering and exploring the possibility of us subscribing to a couple of data points that will get some of that information. I'm just trying to make sure that the return is beneficial for us. They're expensive. And I just need to make sure that we would be using them to their fullest ability, not just pulling once a quarter some numbers. So it's been something that's been on my radar for a few months. Given last year, it was not something I really wanted to move forward, but it has popped back up as something that I might pursue this year. That would give you a little bit of that information. I don't know that to the level that you're talking. That would be talking with property owners and brokers and asking them and relying on the information from them.
Right. Well, I think that, you know, in terms of DDI's mission and goals, and, you know, when you said in your presentation that, you know, one of DDI's goals is to create a sense of community, a sense of place. and the diversity and inclusion. I think one of our challenges, as we all know, is going to be how do we do that with increasing rents for office, the affordable housing piece, and I think when you all do your master plan, will you be including, the public sectors, the city, the county, even our churches? Because I think I think at the end of the day, we're fortunate that, or even Durham Public Schools, we all own property in downtown, and it's really going to take all of us leveraging what we have to try to address some of the challenges. And I can say that I'm really proud of what the county's doing, because we're looking, our board has been looking at our assets and how we try to fulfill some of these needs and goals, with the 300 and 500. It's not just the affordable housing, we're also going to provide affordable office space and retail space. And we're now looking at our old DSS building for Class B, and also artist space. Admin too, you listed one of our businesses on your list there, Tipsy Bull. So we're being really proactive about this, but I think everybody needs to, the city. Again, churches own a lot of property. So I hope that you will include that when you look at the master plan and really be able to make some recommendations for all of us, and also hold us all accountable for the decisions that we made about how we use the properties that we have in downtown.
Yes, my thought is that it will look very closely at publicly owned land and ways that land could be redeveloped for greater density and for a multiple of use. I'm very aware of what is happening at your old social services building. I've had numerous conversations with DFI, Sarah Odio, about the different uses that are being considered. She and I have worked closely to try to identify a potential interest in the first floor and the basement floor. I just sent her something last week, another possibility for us to explore. We have talked through the possibility of what could go in the upper floors, the office floors. Should that all be affordable? Could it be a mix? So I would appreciate having those conversations with any of you offline as we work through that. I will say that we in downtown are doing what we can to ensure that if you are wanting to be downtown, we will try our best to find a location for you in downtown. I am very honest when people speak with me that it is expensive. It takes a lot of work to ensure that you keep people coming through your doors in order to be able to stay down. I think that is the nature of any downtown right now. We are no longer the downtown Durham of 1989, 1990, where you could find space at a really good rate. We are very competitive, but that doesn't mean that we can't find ways to ensure that we have opportunities and that people can grow and be sustainable in place and can graduate to these to market rate and Class A space, and how we can work with them through that. But I'll also say that just adjacent to downtown, there are a number of interesting commercial developments that are occurring that are very much focused on how to support communities, an extension of what's happening in downtown. Quite a few interesting conversations happening along the Fayetteville Street corridor around arts, and then how arts are bringing people back to that area, to the Hayti area. Some very interesting small businesses that have started and are doing quite well in East Durham at the Angier and Driver So I would recommend, well, I don't want to say recommend, certainly I would strongly encourage you to go visit some of those businesses that are in the downtown. I mean, we are limited by the funding, the majority of the funding source that we receive. However, through the funding that you provide and through the city's economic development contract, we are able to go out and try to find ways where things that might have been done in downtown that we now can't control, we can try to assist to ensure that there are spaces for a multitude and a variety of incomes and interests and individuals, and how that all features and flows between what's happening in downtown proper, if we want to call it that, and areas just adjacent. I understand and recognize that there are people who don't feel welcomed, and we are trying our best to at least bring them into the downtown area, see what's happening, and to ask the questions and to introduce them to the opportunities, and introduce them to the developers who have expressed an interest in wanting to find space and to work with local businesses. So while the space may be presented as $25, $30 per square foot, many of the property owners, if that use is good and strong and has a good following or has a good track record or has good support, the developers and the property owners are willing to I would say, work and find a meeting of the minds, and get them to that point. So I think there's a lot of opportunity. We're doing our best to tell people that we want you to come into downtown. If you don't feel welcome, call me, and I will spend the day walking with you and pointing out and introducing you to anybody and everything, because the biggest challenge, second to access to capital, of course, is information. Knowing the who, the what, the where to go to, who to talk to, those connections. Still making the connections, picking up the phone and calling and saying, hey, I've got this idea. And where we can play that role and connect a minority business or a female business or a business that doesn't have the same opportunities with those developers, that's the role we play. We're the facilitator.
So, Nicole, so, were you finished, Commissioner Jacobs? Nicole, I think all the commissioners has a lot of interest in what you have to say, and we could keep you here all night, but we don't plan to.
Aww.
And I think Commissioner Carter has something to say, but I know we have kept you past your time that you allotted for us. So, but if we could give Commissioner Carter a couple of minutes for her to comment as well. I think everyone else had their say. So if you could stay another couple of minutes,
yes,
we'd appreciate it.
For Commissioner Carter, yes.
Thank you, Nicole. Your report was very interesting. It's always really high energy and creative. And I just wanted to say thank you for the report tonight, and also for all the work that you and your team have done to help keep downtown vibrant and resilient during the pandemic. It's amazing the data that you presented to us, that downtown has remained as successful and alive as it has. And I know that in large part that is a testament to the work that you all have done. I also wanted to thank the ambassador team for helping take care of downtown and keeping it looking so clean and beautiful. Really appreciate the work that they do. And in the same way that my colleagues have mentioned, these really challenging and critically important areas of recruitment of minority, women-owned businesses downtown, and making downtown more diverse, the affordability of housing, the affordability of office space. I would like to see us, both in the context of downtown Durham and also just in the greater context of our economic development and the work that the Chamber does, elevate the discussion equally at one that's equally important and equally challenging, and that is around environmental sustainability. And what will we be doing to limit our carbon emissions going forward as we develop? and as we grow and with the economic development countywide and downtown in particular. And we don't need to talk about it tonight a lot, but I do think going forward, it would be interesting if there are any metrics that we could begin to report out on a regular basis in the same way that we do some of these other indicators of and countywide related to the environment. So I just wanted to add that to the really robust discussion that we've already had tonight.
Certainly, I'll work with the chamber, and I think together we could probably come up with a few measures. I do appreciate your acknowledgement of the ambassador team. We are very lucky to have those 11 individuals. 3 of them have been with us since we started the Business Improvement District program back in 2012, 2014. So we're lucky. I hear from colleagues across the country that there's always a lot of turnover with ambassadors. We don't have that. They are very proud of the work they do. So it's always good when they are acknowledged for the very hard work that they do. We are now 7 days a week. That started with COVID. So we have 2 ambassadors, at least 2 ambassadors, who are on the street taking care of issues in the downtown area 7 days a week. So we have grown that. About the vibrancy of downtown, we certainly could not do it without partners like you, the city, and then our private sector partners and our nonprofit partners. So it truly is being able to reach out when we need. The chamber has been amazing to work with. Discover Durham has been amazing. So it is really all of us working to ensure that the heart of downtown, or the heart of Durham, stays beating, because it really does pump to the rest of downtown. And then I must say, and I know I'm going over, but I have to do a shout out to my team, because without them, I wouldn't be in front of you. I would have run away screaming many months ago. But I have an amazing team that is very supportive and also very dedicated to making sure downtown is all that it can be, and finding new and creative ways to ensure that it is welcoming to all. So I encourage you all to come down on Saturday after Thanksgiving, buy a Spendable, spend a Spendable, spend some money in our downtown businesses. COVID is still very much a reality for them. They are still climbing out of it. So please, even if you go someplace else, come through the downtown and pick up a pizza, buy some coffee, but please come in and patronize our downtown businesses. They exist to serve the community. They love what they do, and they would love to see each and every one of you. And thank you for your support in helping them over the last 12 months, or 20 months, I guess now.
Thank you again, Nicole. And as you talk about your team, there's no I in team. It's always, our staff does such a great job, and I appreciate that you appreciate your staff and your colleagues as well. That takes all of us getting done. So I appreciate you tonight and all of the information that you provided. And I enjoy serving on your board.
We enjoy having you. We look forward to seeing you in December.
Absolutely.
You all have
right,
a
thanks.
very, very happy Thanksgiving, and I will see you next time.
You too. And thanks, Andy. All right, let's go back, commissioners, to Michael Stock and the public hearing. We were just at the point of having Michael Stock present.
Yes, thank you.
Are you here?
Howerton, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. I am speaking through the phone, so I apologize for the kerfluffle that this has created. But I'll go on with the text amendment item. Thank you very much. My name is Michael Stock with the Planning Department. Before I begin, I would like to note that the required notifications for this Planning Department public hearing item before you tonight have been performed and are on file for review. Text amendment TC 210004 proposes a set of amendments to establish within the Unified Development Ordinance the official application procedures for street naming, street closing, annexation requests that are processed by the Planning Department, relocate and update statutory development agreements, application procedures, and update certain zoning map change procedures. The complete discussion changes is found within your agenda report. The Planning Commission recommended approval with a vote of 13-0 on September 14th of this year. City Council just recently approved the amendments at their November 15th meeting. Some notable items in the set of amendments include, but they're definitely not limited to, adding notification requirements to renters or occupants of a site within the notification range and not just property owners, clarifying the requirement for posting notification signs along through rights of way, removing the prohibition to seek an expedited hearing if the zoning request required a TIA or plan amendment. Again, relocating the allowance for statutory development agreements from Article 1 to Article 3 with the other applications and permits. Establishing the application procedures for street renaming, street closing, and annexation requests, and codifying the guidelines for street naming. Then also revising zoning map change requirements to explicitly require subject properties within proposed development plans to be contiguous, and to restructure the deviations from development plan sections to make explicit what entails to zoning requests versus an amendment to an approved development plan, and to establish procedures for modifying roadway improvements determined no longer warranted at the time of full build-out. As a reminder, there are two acts requested tonight. First, the ordinance itself, and the second on the appropriate statement of consistency. And again, thank you, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners, are there any questions for staff? Commissioner Long.
Thank you, Chair Horton. I had a question. This was regarding a comment from one of the Planning Commission members, Austin Amendolia, and it was in our documents provided. I was curious, it obviously his statement said, like, not for this amendment, but can we be provided information to the question that he stated around the standard for zoning change notification from 600 feet right now to having a more robust system that's linking our notification distance to population density?
We can take a look at that. It's very difficult to do that because each site is so unique, and you could have very dense development on one side of a site, and then on the other side it's still very sparsely populated. I'm not aware of any jurisdiction that fluctuates the notification range based upon a density calculation. It is almost always done based upon a certain distance. Now, state requirements are very minimal, and they are to the adjacent or adjoining properties. Durham has fluctuated in the past with different distances from 300, 600, and in some cases, some applications 1,000. And I know that we definitely, as we develop the comprehensive plan and develop new policies towards that, look for more equitable ways of providing notification. We can look at exploring that methodology, but also maybe just exploring increasing the notification range. The biggest part of this text amendment is the inclusion of renters or occupants, and we've just started doing that now. We actually started doing that before the adoption of this ordinance, and we are doing it with upcoming planning commission meetings and such. And we've even noticed almost a double or tripling in the number of notification letters that are going out just by including renters or occupants. But to answer your question, I think that's it's something that we can look into. I think it's going to be a difficult procedure to implement, but it is something we can definitely look into.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Sure.
Sarah, did I see your hand up?
Yeah, I just wanted to chime in and say that, when you think about the purpose of notice, which is to let people that would potentially have some impacts from the proposed development, to me, that's why it makes sense to do it based on a distance and not on a density, because it doesn't matter whether there's a lot of residences or very few residents within a certain distance. They're all going to be impacted or not impacted. It's more of a distance issue and less of a density issue. So as Mike said, we can look into it, but I will tell you my professional opinion is that I don't think that would be the amount of time it would take staff is not something that I think is a wise use of staff time, because I don't think there would be a lot of benefit. I think it would be better just to extend the area just to catch more people.
Thank you.
Commissioner Jacobs?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just to follow up on just the discussion we were having about notification, to Sarah's point, I think, and I see it being addressed in this text amendment, the signage, I think, is really key, and I'm glad to see that we're going to be, it seems like, providing better signage in more areas around a site. So, you know, maybe one issue is to also just look at the type of signage and where they're placed as ways to let people know also what is going on. But I see that being improved in this text amendment. And I just want to commend our staff because, and everybody who's been a part of this process, because I know this came before a joint city-county planning committee a while ago, and a lot of people have had input into it, the planning commission, and it's kind of gone back and forth with staff. But I think that a lot of things in this text amendment are really going to benefit people in our community. I'm really excited about the statutory development agreement. This is something new and really presents an opportunity for us to address issues like affordable housing and other things that are priorities for our community. The meeting notifications are, I think, better, that they're going to provide more opportunities for neighborhood engagement. And then the triggering, the clarification about changes in development plans that can then trigger a rezoning. Again, I just want to, I guess, celebrate what I see as a lot of improvements in this ordinance that I think is going to be good for people in our community. So thank you to the staff for your work on this.
Thank you.
Okay, I will now open the public hearing and have the clerk acknowledge any callers on the line or read any comments received.
Good evening, Commissioner. We do not have any callers on the line, nor were there any comments received.
Thank you. According to the School of Government, we no longer have to wait 24 hours before voting on this public hearing. If there are no other comments from the staff and commissioners, I'd like to close the public hearing and entertain there are two motions that we are needing to do tonight.
Commissioner Chair Houghton, I can do the first motion if that's all right.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, I move to adopt an ordinance amending the Unified Development Ordinance, incorporating revisions to Article 2, Review Authority, Article 3, Applications and Permit, and Article 12, Infrastructure and Public Improvement.
Okay, and I need a second.
Second, Madam Chair.
It's been moved and properly second. The first motion, and the clerk, verbal vote.
Commissioner Alam.
Aye.
Commissioner Burns.
Aye.
Commissioner Carter.
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacobs.
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Aye. First motion has been approved 5-0. And then we have a second motion.
Madam Chair, I move to adopt the appropriate statement of consistency pursuant to NCGS 160D-605.
Okay, and I need a second.
Second.
It's been moved. The second motion has been moved by Commissioner Lum, second by Commissioner Burns. Clerk will call roll.
Commissioner Alon,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacobs,
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Aye. Second motion's been approved 5-0. Thank you, Sarah and Mike Scott. Okay. Let's see, we have boards and commissions, and then we have one other item. One item that was pulled. Boards and commission appointments, and then we have one item that was pulled. Attorney Darby, ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
You have 5 positions to fill for boards to add people to. The first board is the Adult Care Home Community Advisory Committee. You may select one. To that advisory committee, you have selected Angela Holm. Then to the Durham County Women's Commission, you can select one. You have selected Daniqua Coat Singh. Then to the Durham Workforce Development Task Force, you have selected, you can vote for 2 or select 2, CJ Broadwick, Danita Johnson. They are your selection or your selections for tonight. And then for the Historic Preservation Commission, you have selected Matthew Bouchard. Then to the Nursing Home Community Advisory Committee, you have selected Gracie Rogers. Those are your persons selected for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Attorney Darby, and congratulations to all the citizens that are appointed. We appreciate you serving on these boards. Okay, the next item was, we pulled one item, 210706, Nighthawk Security Contract Amendment of $412,303 for additional security posts at the Durham County Courthouse and Detention Center. And I think Commissioner Jacobs pulled this one.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. I really just wanted to give an opportunity for our interim county manager to just elaborate on this a little bit more, because I had gotten questions on this from community members, and I think it's important that it's emphasized that this funding is, first of all, coming. It is not. It is coming out of the Office of the Sheriff's budget. Is not additional funding needed for the county, but also that these positions are not people who are going to be working inside the detention center. These are people that are going to be helping with screening, that are trained for these responsibilities and do have the appropriate training for these jobs, and will help support some of the sheriff's deputies who have particular skills be able to work in those areas. So I'll turn it over to you, Interim Manager Hager.
Okay. Good evening. I'll give a couple of highlights, and the sheriff is on the line, as well as Motrio, who manages the overall Nighthawk contract. But this approach is being used to address some of the challenges that law enforcement agencies are seeing across the country, vacancy. And one of the opportunities that we have here is to use Nighthawk Security, who have provided excellent service for the county for over 5 years. Continuity of services is crucial. And the board right now is hearing from many departments on how do you manage when you have shortfalls. And the sheriff can speak to, this is an approach that's been done and is being done to cover the court security. The deputies and detention officers, they play such a crucial role with public safety in our courts and detention center. And as I shared, some other jurisdictions are using this approach. And the sheriff came up, as always, with the solution. When you have a problem, you have to figure out, well, how do I address those issues? And so I'll let him give any highlights that he may want to share above what I've said, but I will also note that the dollars used to support this is from their existing budget. And we're hopeful that this is a short-term approach. We're coming back to the board in December with some recommendations on how we address some of the hard to recruit and retain areas. We have some in public safety that will be addressed in the sheriff's office as well as EMS. And then there are some other trade areas that we're looking at. A challenge organizations across the country are facing, but we always have to come up with a solution. So I'll have the sheriff to give any remarks beyond what I've said.
But Chair Howerton, before he goes, I'm sorry to put you off here. Could I just follow up with something that Interim Manager Hager brought up? That's okay. Sure. It'll be quick. Okay. Because I had the same concerns to come to me this weekend, but I called his staff, right? Like that's usually what happens in these circumstances. We call, we email. Well, certain people call staff. We don't wait to do it here. And Claudia, you can speak to this because I know that Nighthawk has countywide contracts. I know we just talking about the sheriff's office, but the same way when we were working on vaccinations and we had to expand their services for vaccinations to check people at DHHS, I thought that this was pretty much no different, and you can opine on that. And because when I reached out to his attorney and reached out to some of his contract folks, because again, I got some of the same calls. I looked also at what Wake County and some other folks were doing. So this is really just an expansion of what happens in these lobbies so we can get people in and out and get them in and out safely. So I know the sheriff is going to speak to that, but it is no different from some of the expansions that we also had to do in some of our other departments. Am I incorrect or correct?
No, that's exactly right. This pandemic has stretched us in many ways, and Nighthawk has been quite responsive. If you may recall also in the pandemic when we were dealing with the election cycle, we had lots of concerns and safety, and the sheriff's office always is a partner with areas, but Nighthawk is also a partner when we're trying to make sure we have secure areas. So to your point, this has been an approach, and we're fortunate to have them as one of the entities that have helped us over the years.
All right, I'm sorry, my apologies, Sheriff. I know that this was Commissioner Jacobs' item, but you know, I reached out to y'all already today, and I don't know. I'll let you go. You know what? If we can't have you on consent agenda unless we have you on camera. I don't know why it happens to you, brother, but go ahead. I'll let you go ahead. I'm sorry.
With all due respect, Commissioner Burns, I already spoke to Claudia about this today. And
I know what you're talking about.
Discussed it.
It's the sheriff's turn.
I would like to respond to you implying that I did not discuss this in advance with staff, and I did. And as I told our interim manager, I thought it would be helpful for the community to have the benefit of the information related to this to address any concerns. Thank you.
But I would also point out, since you want to reply, he has staff too. He has an attorney, a finance officer, he has a procurement officer. So I'm not going to get into a back and forth, but I reached out to both sets of staff. I reached out to both sets. So the same way, I don't just reach out to Claudia I reach out to public health staff, legal staff. He has a staff. It's no different than when that request that the Wellness Task Force had a couple of weeks ago. You asked Jody. It would have never gone to Jody. He has an attorney. All I'm saying is you have a different approach than I do. Like, I'm not going to ask Claudia for something that I got to ask Rod. And no one implied that you didn't ask. You asked somebody. I'm just saying I would hope that we would all strive to ask the individuals that have the pertinent information. And so that's it. And if you're offended by that, if you are offended by that, I can't help that. I cannot help that. I followed up with a question that I had for Claudia, and she answered it.
So let's let
Commissioner Burns, I support this issue. I support this item. I'm trying to share the information with the public.
I just want to share it to go. I wish that if she's gonna do this every time, I'm tired of her feelings getting hurt, and she does it. I had a question for Claudia.
Let's let Burkhead speak, please.
Yes, ma'am. He's just too sensitive.
Did you forget what question you asked, Sheriff Burkhead?
No, I did not. Thank you and good evening, commissioners. As interim manager Claudia has already stated, this is not new. This is me and my staff being responsive to the shortage that every agency across this country is experiencing. I have very little concern with Nighthawk coming in here working alongside us, because I will be able to reallocate some resources in other areas, shore up some of those deficiencies by having Nighthawk cover the monitoring stations in front of the courthouse and at the detention center. I've known Nighthawk and their reputation for almost 10 years, so I know them to be a well-trained professional outfit, private security outfit, which is exactly why I thought they're already a contract provider with the county. It simply made a good fiscal sense for me to ask for this expansion. So I appreciate the spirited discussion, and I certainly appreciate the approval that we can move this forward. So again, I can look out for my staff, provide the highest level of safety and security in the courthouse and certainly in the detention center. And again, reallocate those resources to carry out the entire mission of the sheriff's office. That's my goal, that's my commitment, and I appreciate your support.
Thank you, Commissioner Burkhead. You know, I've seen them work with us for a number of years. I've seen them around and experienced their work. So thank you. If there are no other questions on this item, I will ask for a motion for approval.
Madam Chair, I would move approval of this item.
And I second it. Oh, sorry.
Okay, who was the Commissioner Long? Was that
Commissioner Carter moved.
Yeah, the second.
Commissioner Long.
Okay, Commissioner Carter, moved by Commissioner Carter, second by Commissioner Long. If we can get a verbal vote by the clerk.
Commissioner Alon.
Aye.
Commissioner Burns.
Aye.
Commissioner Carter.
Aye.
Vice Chair Jackson.
Aye.
Howerton.
It's where's my number? Number 210706. Approved 5-0.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Burkhead. So to the citizens that are watching and the staff that's here with us, we thank you for your presence and want to wish you a safe and joyous holiday as we commissioners go into closed session. The board is requested to adjourn to closed session to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged pursuant to GS 143-318.11A3. I will entertain a motion to go into closed session.
Madam Chair, I move to go into closed session for the reasons stated.
Okay, may I have a second?
Second.
Commissioner Jacobs. Okay, Alam moves.
Aye.
Mr. Jacobs second. Did I get that right? Okay. Um, Verbal vote by Ms. Wallace.
Commissioner Alam,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Mrs. Wallace, aye.
Commissioner
I'm so saying, used to saying Ms.
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacobs,
Aye, but you still need to change your name on your little box there, Miss Wallace.
So,
and
is
Chair
it 5-0? We are in closed session. And I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
Madam Chair, I move to adjourn.
Yeah, the second.
Second.
Okay, clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner Alam,
Aye.
Commissioner Burns,
Aye.
Commissioner Carter,
Aye.
Vice Chair Jacobs,
Aye.
Chair Howerton.
Aye, we have adjourned.
Night,
Happy
everyone.
Thanksgiving,
Happy
everybody.